go ahead and stop sharing. But before I hand it back to Miranda, I do want to reiterate what Mark said. The release, we are delaying a week. The week of AspenCon is the week when we typically do our heaviest period of testing. And I know that you all want us to test things before we release them. So we're going to move that testing week to the week after and delay the release by a week. You will get the new version of Aspen 2403 on Wednesday, the 27th. We push about all out to you on Tuesday night. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Miranda.
Great, thanks. All right, cool. I was answering a question in the chat. I was like, no. All right. Okay, so it's everyone's favorite time. We are going to welcome some new partners. So let me make sure I get the agenda in there. So that's where we're at, but it's new partner welcome time. And we have a bunch of people this time to welcome. So let me drop all of the links to their beautiful catalogs down in there. But to go down the list, we are welcoming Cedar Falls in Iowa, CW Mars, tons of libraries in Massachusetts, Fayetteville in Arkansas, St. Johns County Library System in Florida, Deerfield Public Library in Illinois, and Waterloo also in Iowa. So welcome everybody, especially if you're here. Welcome to being live. You did a great job. Yay. And we get to welcome someone twice. So if you add branded Lita, you now get space on our agenda as well. So Ramapo went live with branded Lita. Their app is out in the wild. So everyone congratulate them. It looks beautiful as well. Yay. Especially if anyone's here. I didn't actually see, but congrats on your app. It looks great. And after that, I think we're on to Cal for Aspen Academy.
Yeah, thanks, Miranda. I just wanted to invite everyone and remind everyone about Aspen Academy, which we launched this year. There's a link here. We've already had 2 really amazing sessions. The next one is in April, and it is on Aspen for administrators. So some tips, tricks, things related to those like global settings like language, setting up permissions, just overall navigating of the back end of Aspen. So if you want to join us for that, please go ahead and sign up. And then in May, we have a administering Aspen Lita, so setting that up, and then some of the settings that you can get more familiar with during that session. And Morgan and I are getting ready to, hopefully within the next maybe few weeks, release some dates for maybe the rest of the year, and even maybe some exciting things with some other partners that might want to come on and help us with Aspen Academy. So stay tuned for some more of that, but we just wanted to, again, just remind you about Aspen Academy, what it is, where you can register, and we hope that you'll join us. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jordan.
All right, it's time to talk about what we did this month and what we're going to do next month. So hopefully everyone is seeing my screen. Yep. So on the left, if this is your first Aspen gathering, on the left is what we said we were going to do last month, and on the right is what we actually did this month. Because as we know, like plans change, and we're always very responsive to what everyone needs. So the first thing at the top, the ungrouped graphic novels from regular books. We really hope to get to this one. I know it's a big priority for the community, but between the indexing updates that we were doing with Solar and the Java changes, as well as wanting to make sure that we really got the Palace project out and that we were testing it, we decided to put that one off. That one's actually a pretty big one. We're hoping to start it this month. It'll be a little bit of a stretch, honestly, with AspenCon. That's just a big one that messes with record grouping. So we want to make sure that we have enough time to do it and then test it and make sure there's not any kind of conflict with anything else that we're doing. But that's one that we really want to do. You saw the updates to the Symphony self-reg form that Mark showed you. Those are all planned to be done. Those are all done right now. Palace project support for Lita, I showed that off. So as though we have additional changes within the Palace project integration, those will also need to be done in Lita, but we've done the basic integration from the first round of Palace project. Partner priorities and high priority bugs. Mark was telling me that he actually printed out the release notes for everything that he did, and there were 7 pages of release notes. So there's a lot of the partner priorities and high priority bugs in there. So what you're putting in, it really does matter. We get to as many as we can. We never get to, even a tiny percentage of what we want to, but we really do try to prioritize getting those done. The easier translations for text box, that blocks, that's where Mark was showing you how you kind of had the tabbed view to do a translation and you had the different languages. We are working on getting that all across Aspen admin just to make those longer text block translations easier, but we didn't quite get that one done. E-commerce updates ongoing. We didn't finish anything for e-commerce that we wanted to that time. Like I said, the Java and the Solar updates, things we don't talk about here, but things that are really important to the backend really took priority. A couple things that we added, Palace Project Part 2. With the Palace Project, just an interesting thing that we realized with the integration, we had no partners that wanted the integration that had a test server. So while we could test with test data, we couldn't actually test it until it was really out in the wild. So if you're wanting to help us have a place to test these or wanting to test these things yourself, we highly recommend a test server. It really helps us make sure that we're catching more things before go live, but we did find a few things. And also Palace Project is a brand new integration. We're the first folks using these APIs. So we did a lot of time going back and forth with the folks at Lyrasis, trying to make sure we're catching everything. And it says working on it because I think we are going to have a little bit more of that, especially as some of you turn that on. But Mark alluded to Santa Barbara having a lot of success turning it on. And I do want to say, I think Lyrasis told us that they had 400 new patrons on the first day they turned it on, register for Palace Project. So that's what this kind of exposure, when you're getting that other e-content, that's what the exposure in Aspen does for those e-resources. Accessibility fixes, Mark talked about this as well. We do try to get to these as quickly as we can. We did as many as we could, but we still have libraries. We have another library that's finishing up a report, and I want to see if there's anything we can tick off that list. One of the big things we uncovered is that the browse categories are not fully accessible. But it's going to be a little bit of a bigger fix. So that one of the reasons I put it on here is we're going to start investigating that. I don't know that it will be fixed within the next release, but we're definitely looking into it. We have to basically upgrade the component. It's impossible for us to make what is there right now accessible. So we have to find something to replace it with. So you can see how that would be a little bit bigger. And then Mark talked about the payment history for e-commerce. This one ended up being kind of a big thing that I just really wanted to call out here as something that everybody's getting. All right, for 2404, we have AspenCon, so it's a little bit smaller, but I'm also really trying to keep it small so that we can get to that ungroup graphic novels. I know we all want to see that. Maybe it's just me, but I really want to see it. And then stay on top of the partner priorities and high priority bugs. Getting through as many of those as we can, as well as some of the things that we were still working on for the last release. So want to get those translations cleaned up or finished, the Palace project finished, the accessibility fixes finished. We're really using this one as a month that we can kind of finish a whole bunch of things up and hopefully start the ungroup graphic novels. All right, I am going to check the chat to see if there is anything else. Looks like we're pretty good. So I'm going to hand it over to Kate to talk about AspenCon.
Thank you, Jordan. If you haven't heard, we're hosting our first conference next week. Thank you, Jordan, for wearing that hoodie. I think it's very becoming. So yes, next week, March 13, 14, 15, we'll be meeting in Golden, Colorado. Thank you for all of you that registered. There should be around 70 of us in person, so that's a fantastic number, and we are really looking forward to it. I am going to put last time pre-conference link for the website where you can see the schedule, the speakers, and or even go to the Bywater shop if you would like to purchase that same hoodie. If you have registered to attend in person, you should have received an email from me with some practical info regarding the conference, including signing up for workshops, signing up for dine-arounds. If you have registered to join us in person and you have not received that email, please just reach out to me, kate.lozek@bywatersolutions.com, or submit a ticket. It will make its way to me as well, and I'll take care of the rest. If you signed up to join us virtually, I will also be emailing you with some details about streaming and about the presentations, lightning talks being streamed. And of course, all our findings from workshops, roundtables will be also available on the website after the conference as well. We are all very excited. We really, yes, it's a really big deal for us. So we're really happy that you have accompanied us on this journey. Of course, special thanks goes to all our speakers, the planning committee, the volunteers. It's really amazing to see community being so engaged. Of course, I would like to thank Bywater Solutions and Colorado Library Consortium for being our key partners and all our sponsors. We're really excited that most of you are also joining us in person. So our special thanks goes to Equinox, to Hoopla, Ingram, PDFS Europe, and Keepo, and also our AspenCon architects, Springshare and StackMap, and builders. Division of Lyricists, Shoutbomb, Unique Management Services, and Unlimited Listens. Thank you so much again. We really appreciate it, and we really hope you're gonna enjoy the conference with us. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. We're excited. All right, I think next on the agenda, I'm passing it off to Brian to update you about the Aspen Community Meeting, the big one.
The next Aspen Community Meeting is March 19th at 10 a.m. Central. I'm in Central Time, so I'm going to say it's 10 a.m. Central. And I will link a document with the agenda in the chat. And really, the first thing on the agenda is AspenCon debrief. So March 19th, 10 a.m. Central.
Thanks so much. All right, I think we're back to Jordan for all of the other ones, all of those other meetings.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of meetings here. And even if you want to start one, I see a long list of ILS. Well, if your ILS isn't on there and you want to come and talk with other folks that use your ILS and improvements that can be made to Aspen, though these are the places to do it. Just reach out and we can start one of those groups. The big thing is that the Evergreen meeting is going to be canceled. The Evergreen meeting, or it is canceled, was originally scheduled for next week, but we will all be at AspenCon. So yeah, that one is canceled. The next one is 2 months from now, but you have all of the dates for the upcoming meetings, and you can get the times within your time zone, as well as links to those meetings in the community calendar that's linked down there as well. All right, I think I'm handing it over to Jesse.
Okay, just for some of our outreach updates, the Oklahoma Library Association is happening right now, and a shout out to Metropolitan Library System. They gave a presentation this morning at the conference on implementing Aspen Discovery. Bill's there right now as we speak, talking to people and getting them interested in the community. We'll be at Computers and Libraries next week while y'all are at AspenCon, and we'll be working with some of our new potential partners that might be switching over, and we have several partners that are presenting, so shout out to Gail Borden and Fayetteville. And then, of course, at the beginning of April, a bunch of us will be out at the Public Library Association annual conference. We're holding a session called Real Users and Real Perspectives, where we'll be talking about libraries who have made the transition to open source. And we're really excited to talk to some new individuals. And then later in April, we'll be in Texas for the Texas Library Association. Okay, I'm going to pass it back to Miranda.
Thanks so much, Jesse. Busy beavers going everywhere. All right, now it's time for everyone's second favorite part of the gathering. It's open time. What do you want to talk about? Anything you feel like.
I have a question about something that's just come up on our consortium, is the idea of new patron registration using Aspen, but using a verification service to sort of auto-regulate everything about the the registration or the validation of address. Is there anything that is currently available being worked on that side of things?
So with that Symphony self-reg that you saw, we are validating that it is a real address using the US Postal Service APIs. We are not doing any kind of validation, and I'm going to call out my developers to correct me if I'm wrong, especially Cody, since I know she did a lot of this. We're not validating to make sure that that US Postal Service has like a record of that person at that address. We're only validating to see if it's a real address. We certainly could, and that's only for the Symphony self-reg, I think, right now. We can expand that out for sure. It just requires us coming as a community to talk about wanting to do that and what APIs are also available for your ILS to make sure that we're able to actually register them in the catalog.
Is there any other relationships with other vendors that do sort of a verification process? I know Patron Point has that Patron Point Verify. Is
Mhm.
that something that has been in any communications or anyone asked about?
All of our partners that use Patron Point right now, that integration is actually happening through the ILS. So we are not doing it like, yes, you can use it. It's just not an integration with us. It's an integration with your ILS. We do integrate with Kipu though, and they are a company that does self-registration, and they do have some additional verification, and we have a full Kipu integration.
Oh, good to know. Okay, thank you.
Um, so my consortium, my Main Library Alliance, we just went live with Patron Point beginning of, where are we? No, not this year. Last year at some point. So it's not integrated into Aspen. We do have it integrated via JavaScript snippets and so forth. So it does look like it's built into our Aspen. It's just not. It's just trickery with iframes and whatnot. But if you're curious about that, you can take a look at our catalog. I'll drop a link.
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
I'm just taking notes, but you all can keep going with more stuff you want to talk about.
Actually, if Jordan can drop a link to it, I think she said Keep On, whatever company she mentioned, maybe that'd be great to just to kind of look at our options.
I definitely can.
Thank you.
And for the record, we actually asked Patron Point about APIs and so forth. And I think they're a little limited in terms of, at least at the time we asked, have available for, and obviously they need to have APIs there for Aspen to add an integration. So don't know what development they have or had not done since then. Again, that was last year. So
Mike, can I ask you, what's your ILS?
Polaris.
Polaris, okay.
And I will say we're happy to meet with any vendors that are interested in integrations anytime. I think I met with 2 others this week, either existing or potential future integration. So that's just something we do regularly. And that's where we discuss what we need out of an API, what they can offer, how we can improve things. So that's just something we do as part of our normal day to day.
Right, I think I got that all in the notes. People can double check me if I'm wrong, but I think I got all of it. Anything else?
Hey, this is Alex at Helen Plum. I had a question about the Aspen API. Is there any documentation available for that?
It is limited. So right now, the best documentation is really in the code, and part of that is it changes a lot. Do you have a specific project in mind? And if you do, if you want to reach out, I'm happy to discuss with you. Or
No, nothing specific in mind. Just wanted to see what was available.
Yeah, I mean, Lita is fully driven by the APIs, so kind of everything within Lita can be done with the APIs. In general, we try to make it easier for people to integrate than having to go to the APIs, but we have a few other vendors that are using it. The main consumer right now is Lita. So search account functionality, adding things to lists. I guess Arlington also has an app that they have been developing for a long time that also takes advantage of those apps or of those APIs. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll take a look at the code.
Sure. And yeah, happy to point anybody to more information on that if they want. But and if anybody wants to do more documentation on it, I'm happy to tell them more about it so they can do documentation. Yep, that is the, I'll put the link to the APIs there for current version.
Got it, thanks.
Sure. What other questions, comments, wonderful ideas? We'll see everybody next week.
We have a question in the chat. Is there a way to expand or show hide more like this based on the format or fiction, nonfiction? There is not, but that definitely could be a development request. Yeah, and things like these, we also like to have a conversation around it. So any particular reason why you're wanting to hide those?
We have libraries that like or prefer novelist for fiction, but more like this is better for DVDs or nonfiction and other formats like that.
That makes complete sense. Yeah, that's a great dev request. I'm going to do one other plug for the community meeting since we keep getting these dev requests. What we do at the community meeting is we talk about what the most important dev requests are. So if you really have that idea that you love, come and talk about it at our community meeting. We also tend to do that if it's kind of an ILS specific meeting. That's what a lot of those ILS meetings are for too, as well, is just to kind of help us prioritize, so to make sure we're always working on the most important thing. We do not currently record. So there's a question in the chat. Is the community meeting recorded for those who can't attend? We do not currently record them. I believe it's been a while, but that was at the partner's request. I am happy to have any of those recorded. And we can post those on the community website if you want. But I will leave that up to those groups to decide. They also have a varying level of formality and note taking. Again, it's up to those individual groups to decide how they want to record their meetings. Our job is to kind of hang out and listen. But happy to record if any of the groups want to.
Anything else? I'm so excited. This is like the best open time ever. Like, so if you guys want to keep going, please keep going. But yeah.
I had a quick question about AspenCon. I know Kate said she's going to send out an email at some point soon, but just to jump the gun on probably what's going to be explained in that email. Anything that's being done virtually, is it going to be like an open format Zoom thing, or one of those things where you only see the presenter? Or I'm just kind of trying to imagine how it's going to play out.
Hey, do you want that, or do you want me to talk about it?
How about you take that one?
I've seen the venue, so it's a little bit easier for me. So you will be able to see the presenter. You'll also be able to see slides. It is set up on Zoom. So there's like a nice camera kind of like mounted on the side. So you're not going to be like looking up someone's nose. You should actually see like that actual person. For folks that have registered for the online portion, we have your email. You're going to get all of the follow-up things. Things like evaluations, that kind of thing. If you didn't register, we will be streaming it on YouTube, so you can still watch everything. If you've had colleagues that didn't kind of get in before that registration deadline, so that's no problem at all. Kate, am I missing anything? No. Okay. Do you have any other specific questions on that one?
Nope. Just wanted a quick general idea as I'm still finalizing stuff I'm working on.
Yeah, and for the first day and a half, all the presentations are open for all virtual attendees. The workshops that are hands-on or not. Let's see what else we also have like the icebreaker. The committee intentionally designed the icebreaker so that virtual folks can attend. So don't think just because you're not there, you can't do the icebreaker. You can always have that up and participate and see your participation as part of that. So.
If nothing else. Oh, James, you put your camera on. Go.
Yeah, and I've actually been doing a phone call this whole time, so I haven't heard anything, and I'm looking forward to seeing the video. But today's my birthday. Ha!
Happy birthday.